Items are the heart of a project in DesignerLogic. Items are simply products and services that you might spec out, charge the client, and order and track. They can be put on proposals, invoices, and purchase orders in any combination. Let's take a closer look. We're going to go to this project and click on the Items and Work List section of the project. And here we can see in spreadsheet view all the items on this project. We have a design fee, we have things like chairs and other furniture, and there's also a labor charge, and down below here we even have some freight that's a separate item for this desk up here. Now if you hover over the information icon next to any item name, you'll see more information. You can see the information for the vendor the item came from as well. And over here to the right, you can see hovering over the three-dot menu will give you navigation options and editing options for that specific item. There's many things you can do with an item. You can put this item on a proposal, an invoice, or a purchase order, or all of them. You can also add comments, tasks, events, and upload files that are related to that item. And there's quick edit links where you can update tracking information or change pictures and things like that. And you can also copy items entirely to the same project or another project if you want to use something very similar over and over again. The details page is a full page where you can see all the information about a specific item in one place, and just click on a tab at the top and you'll get more information about that item. And like most other parts of DesignerLogic, if you click or hover over the Edit Add button at the top, you'll have a lot of different options to add things to that specific item. To create a new item on a project, just go up to the Edit Add link and hover over it, and you'll see this item from at the top. Choose to make a new item from scratch. You can copy items from your history. You can use DesignerLogic templates that have spec prompts already in there. And you can also copy from your catalog if you have things that are reusable like fabric or tiles and things like that. You can copy those directly to your project. Let's take a look at adding a new item to this project. Just click on the new link. And this opens up the new item form. You can add that new item to a phase of a project, and a phase is a way to timeline out your project. You can use your own numbering system if you have your own item numbering system. Sales codes are just categories. They come from your default list, and you can just choose the sales code that you want, or you can type in a new one. Same with the areas. They go on your project's area list. You just want to choose the area the item goes in, and you can choose to type in a new area if you don't see it in the list. And likewise, the supplier is the same thing. Choose it from your supplier list. Type in a new one if you need to by clicking on the new link right here. The description is a short description of the item. That's something that will show up everywhere to your client as well as on a purchase order to the supplier. And then you can fill out the rest of this information if there's a different manufacturer, if the supplier has their own inventory number. If there's a web page for that item, you can just put that in there. And then down here we have the financials where you can type in the information for that item's financials. You might have a budget that the client doesn't want to go over. If there's a retail price on that item, you can type that in. And you can even type in a discount you might get as a designer. Use that discount to get the cost right here. And then you can also mark that item up. Say if you want to mark it up 50%, it will calculate for you that markup and put the total for the client price right there. And right here we have the price status. You can leave a price to be determined or estimated, or you can have it as finalized. Now if it's to be determined or estimated, that will show up on the printouts, on the proposals as TBD or EST, so the client will know that that price might change. And taxable just means the item will be included in the tax on a proposal and invoice. And if you are not in the United States, you might want to tax the item on, include it in tax on a purchase order as well. The place goal is just the installation goal, and that will show up on your calendar. And you can also track the item if you need to track it, even if it's not on a purchase order. This is if you spec out items for a project, but you don't actually order them yourself. The client might order them. You can always track them this way. There's other information you can put in here. You can put in a placeholder image. You can upload a new image or choose no image. The client's URL, you can put a product page or a payment page that shows up in the client portal for that item right here. Down here you can also use spec templates. For example, if you want to choose a towel bar from this accessories, it will auto-fill the spec information box so that your designers will make sure they have the correct data. The client does not see this information, only the vendor sees it on a purchase order. And down here, the client sees this information. The vendor does not see this information right here. And this can be as long as you want to. It can even be a few paragraphs. Down here, if you want to add a shipping charge to the item at the time you create it, simply select the shipper, put in the cost and other information, and it will add a component of freight to that item. And then down below, you can choose to ship it to the client, to your office, or if you have a warehouse, you can ship it to, say, a warehouse, and that will automatically show up there. Lastly, at the bottom, you can select to add a task, event, or comment, or some other things to the item at the time you make it, or you can simply leave it as closed and hit submit. And what that does is that will create one of these line items that you see right here in this list. And then you can put that item on a proposal, invoice, and or purchase order, and then use that three-dot menu to do a whole bunch of other different things with that. And lastly, if you want to quickly add items to a project, use the quick edit link here. And this is a spreadsheet view where you can just really quickly, line by line, put items on a project by typing them out and clicking add over and over again. And you can also build items with multiple components by clicking on the build link and just add in more information up here, and that will add it as a component to that main item. And again, items can be anything on a project, from design fees to labor to physical items, freight, things like that.